And then he never picks up the phone.
Hello?
Hello! How are you, sir?
We are great, man. We're just having a awesome time watching you play the game.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, dude, it is such a pleasure to talk to you. I really appreciate you guys taking the time. As a reminder, we are here today with Ricardo Bear. And you know what? Could you say his name for me just so I don't make a fool of myself? It is Raf.
I'll let him say it.
Raf Colantonio.
Awesome.
Right.
Excellent. Okay, excellent. Well, it's great to meet both of you guys. I'm going to go ahead and throw on my headphones so you guys don't echo for the entire time. And as we're doing that, we do have a small list of questions that I've come up with for these two gentlemen. However, we'll probably stray from it a little bit. But on that note, give me 1 second here.
Yeah.
And we will get started. Awesome.
I like how you called it a small list of questions.
Well, again, it's a pretty long list. Feel free. I know. How long do you guys have today? I'm assuming you guys have about 30 minutes today.
Yeah. Raph has to leave in, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes or something, but I can stick around for much longer.
Oh, cool. Okay. Well, great. Well, we'll try to keep it around 30. I don't want to completely overwhelm you guys, but I really do appreciate it.
Today's a pretty chill day because it's our launch day, so everyone's just hanging out, watching streams. Reading.
Yeah, this must be a great time for you guys, actually. Like, all of the work is done, and now you get to kind of sit back and just watch how it plays out.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that must be very nice.
And stressful at the same time because it could have gone either way, but it's going good, so we're happy.
Excellent. Yeah, I gotta say, as somebody who really enjoyed Dishonored 2, and as a Twitch streamer, where, I get everybody's complaint about 300 times a day. I gotta say that I think we were all collectively a little bit nervous about performance on the PC, but I gotta say, you guys absolutely knocked it out of the park. I don't think I've dropped below 120 frames the entire game on max settings. Nice. So yeah, pretty awesome.
That's great to hear, man.
So anyway, let's go ahead and get started. Ricardo, and actually, right after you're done with this question, we can take it right to Raph as well. Ricardo, how about you tell us a little bit about yourself? Just a basic introduction. Let the people know who you are.
So my name is Ricardo Bear, and I'm the lead designer at Arcane Studios on Prey. I've been at Arcane Studios for since a little bit before the first Dishonored, so I don't know, what's that, 8 years or something now, maybe?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I came into Arcane at the beginning of Dishonored. Before that, I worked at a few other places, like I worked at Ion Storm on Deus Ex. The Deus Ex.
Oh my God, be still my heart.
But yeah, and I live in Austin, Texas, where our studio is.
Very cool. And Raph, how about yourself, sir?
Well, I started in '93, so it's been a while. I started with working for Electronic Arts, and then in '99 I created Arcane Studios. Me and 3 other developers.
Thank you, by the way.
And then in 2005 I came to Austin to open the Austin studio, and so I've been working on Arcane Studios has done games like Arx Fatalis, Dark Messiah, Might and Magic, and then Dishonored, and now Prey. So I'm creative director and president of the company.
Excellent. Well, I have to say, I was one of the people that not only played Arx Fatalis, but absolutely loved it. I secretly hope that you guys are going to remaster it someday so everyone else can see that. But yeah, that is amazing to hear.
Hey,
and
that's really cool. I'm really glad to hear you say that because I don't know if you could tell, because Arx Fatalis is a fantasy game, but the structure of Prey is very much inspired by Arx Fatalis.
I not only feel it, I enjoy it. There's definitely parts of it that I feel in there. And it's kind of interesting, the tangent of being, completely underground and also moored on a space station. Those tangents are kind of interesting.
We called this, for a long time, we talked about this game as our space dungeon.
Well, there you go. Awesome. Very cool. So I think we actually covered mostly the first 3 questions with that, which is excellent. So Ricardo, a lot of people aren't fully familiar with what everyone knows what a lead designer is, but a lot of people don't know what that actually entails. So what was your role on Prey, and what was your day-to-day like throughout the production?
Well, it's probably a little different depending on what kind of game you work on and what company you work at. But over here, for me, what it means is, first of all, I work very closely with Raphael, our creative director, on a day-to-day basis, giving people feedback, lots of meetings with the other leads and the other departments, making sure that the vision of the game is being like communicated correctly and is being represented correctly in everywhere in the game. So I work closely with the other designers as well, like our lead systems designer Seth Shane and our lead level designer Rich Wilson, to just like plan things and give critical feedback and stuff like that. And then as far as working on the game itself, again, working very closely with Raph on the overall story of the game, and then also whenever I have time between meetings and stuff, trying to write dialogue and make story stuff happen.
Yeah, Ricardo is also a great writer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a lot of hats to wear. That's pretty cool. A lot of times they'll compartmentalize a lot of what you just said into different entire positions in some cases. So that's really cool to have a hand in all that.
Yeah, I think it's a generally true statement about our team. We made a game that is a lot bigger than what you would think the size of our team is. A lot of the people on our team punch out of their weight class and wear a lot of hats.
Very cool. Very cool. So going to the development cycle for Prey, what were some of your favorite memories from that? Was there anything that kind of stood out from the real cycle itself that really is a fond memory for you at this point?
Give a good example of that, Raph?
Yeah, I think we all have our favorite moments. I think for me, it's when the game becomes alive. It's when you start putting the system together and find out about interactions between the systems that you did not expect. And I remember once I was showing to the company, to Bethesda, I was showing an early version of the game, and we had the mimic power that was in there. And as I turned into, I think it was a bottle, another mimic came by and turned into me. So there was like 3 bottles now on the screen. So that was something pretty cool, and that kind of proved our point about how those systems can become alive and create some moments that are unexpected.
Yep.
Very cool. And honestly, I think giving the player those tools to just kind of give them the toys in the sandbox to play with, I got to admit, in all of my gaming, that has been some of the best memories I've had, is figuring that kind of stuff out.
Man,
so
I got to say, it's pretty impressive that you can talk to us and survive a fight against a Voltaic Phantom at the same time.
I appreciate it, man. I got to admit, it's been 32 years of training my ADHD for streaming, but it's finally gotten to the point where there is a profession that my ADHD really just works at. So it's kind of nice. It's kind of nice. So tell me this: did anything turn out differently than you were expecting? Something that you started the development cycle with, going, this is going to end like this, but then by the end of development, it was just something completely different. And maybe there wasn't anything.
I can't think of anything. I think there've been tools and gadgets and stuff that we did not make it into the game, like as every development. But there's nothing that we thought we would go this way and ended up that way that I can think of.
Yeah, I mean, this maybe isn't an exact answer to your question, because I can't think of anything that like totally went 180. But one of the systems that we were fond of was some of our survival systems, like initially in the game we had like a trauma system where you could get 3rd-degree burns and broken legs, radiation sick, all kinds of stuff like that. Actually, I think we kept radiation sickness, but and we had like if your suit got damaged, it would start to leak oxygen, and your weapons could break. We thought those were cool systems, but as we were getting closer to ship, we realized that for a lot of players, I mean, the game is already it's pretty hard. It's very challenging, and
especially on hardest difficulty.
Yeah, especially on nightmare mode or hard. So we realized it was just overwhelming, and we didn't. We couldn't. We wanted to make them optional, and so the best thing to do was to take them out for now. And so we're hoping that we'd like to release it in a patch in the future, like a survival patch or something like that.
Oh my God! I have to admit that there has definitely been a time in my playthrough, particularly when I had spent about 20 minutes just flying around the outside of the station, just kind of marveling at not only the freedom, but how easy it was to move around. And I remember going, man, I'm so glad I don't have to worry about oxygen. Like, I'm so glad I can just explore and let this happen. So yeah, that's
that's interesting, because that was actually part of our design process, was like, man, flying outside was so fun and so chill that when we had initially we had it even worse. It was just you were constantly leaking oxygen, and it just made flying outside not very fun. Like, people just couldn't explore because they were too anxious. They had to go back inside too often.
Yep. I've been in other games where that exact feeling has been the reason that I have missed content, is because I had done a big run like that, and I get low on resources, and I tell myself, I really wanted to see that thing I saw out there, but you know what? Too much of a hassle, and I don't have the resources to do it. So thank you. That's cool. But that being said, I gotta say, some of those features you just mentioned about a survival mode, that's an entire other playthrough for someone who's already done it. Like, that sounds really cool.
Yeah, that's the version of that I like, where you can turn those things on and go, okay, I'm gonna do the like Iron Man, hardcore mode, and see what happens.
Absolutely. Very cool. So here's a question for both of you, and actually I'm really glad Raph is here for this question, because he may have some good insight on this. How did you approach the alternate timeline? Did you guys stick to any particular themes? Is there a reason you guys picked Kennedy, for instance? Like, there's so many different directions you can go with an alternate timeline. What was your thinking on the one you picked?
I think it's we needed some story, some narrative that would explain why our world is the way it looks. And so that came maybe a year into development. Originally we had a story, we had some form of lore and plot, but the lore itself was not that developed, and our world it was not as special as we wanted it to be. So we spent some time, Ricardo and I, and Emmanuel Petit, the art director, and Sébastien Mitton, the French art director. He's behind Dishonored art direction, and so we sat for like 3 or 4 days just writing all the events and the timeline that would lead to having a look that is special. And so that's how we started back in the 60s, and then little by little we find that series of events, and we thought, it would be actually cool to have this little difference in our world about Kennedy.
Well, I loved it. I thought that was great. I remember the first time getting into the lobby and going into that little museum and turning to the right and being like, I know that guy, but not with gray hair.
Yeah. Surprise.
That was a very kind of aha moment. But that was really cool. That was really cool. So moving on, and again, this is one of those questions that either of you can answer. Feel free. What was the greatest challenge during development? Was there anything that happened during the development that kind of stopped you guys in your tracks and said, we kind of need to do something about this? And did anything go easier than expected?
The elevator.
Yeah.
Oh, really? You mean the one that connect? Oh, no kidding. What's the story behind that?
It was not the greatest challenge, but it was a fairly hard undertaking.
Yeah.
Because Ricardo and I really wanted that seamless feeling that you can actually traverse the station physically, so that you would see actually how big it is, and it's a little more it's more immersive. So we wanted it this way as opposed to be a loading, and so but it's technically kind of challenging. So but eventually it worked out.
Yeah, you'll notice there's things like, hey, we don't let you have your weapons and your powers active while you're in the elevator. For the most part, that's an example of like one of the compromises we had to make in order to keep this idea that we loved so much, because it was just causing too many problems. I mean, you can look at the powers and just imagine all the crazy stuff you can do while the elevator's moving that would just absolutely break it.
And we tried because it's very painful for us to remove. We like games where everything stays consistent, so that it really feels like a simulation, and removing in the elevator, removing the controls up for the weapons was actually a compromise that was painful. But we've tried for a long time, so that's why I'm saying like it's been causing more stress than you would think, just getting that in.
I can imagine. It's really interesting that you'd said that though, and I have to say, I I really appreciate that you guys took the time to work through that, because just like I was saying earlier about the space station, even today I was riding up the elevator and remarking how great it was that the elevator was there instead of a loading screen. About how in most games you walk up to like the floor selector, you just pick a floor and it loads that floor. But with the elevator, not only does that give you the opportunity to randomly have enemies attack you, thanks whoever the hell decided that. That was a rude awakening today. But it also gives you a real sense of scale. You know, you see how fast you're traveling. You see how long you're in the elevator. And yeah, I mean, that having that sense of scale in a game like this is incredibly important to people like me who can get fully immersed in this kind of thing. So,
well,
pretty awesome.
Kudos to our level designer, Anthony Huso, who put up with all of our nonsense and insisting that the elevator be in the game.
Yeah.
Well, it was worth it. Just know it's appreciated. All the time that went into it, we appreciate it.
I hope he's listening right now.
Thank you
I
for
know
it,
half
Anthony.
the team is watching you play and listening, so.
Awesome. Well, big thanks to all of them. Give them all a hug from me. So here we go to another kind of bigger question here. And this is more about the design and how you guys approached the design. And this may be a little bit focused. So if it is, feel free to answer as broadly as you like. What was the thinking in the way that you handled the scenarios with multiple solutions? Did you guys plan out numerically how each skill would have its uses, or did you just kind of let the situations develop on their own? And to preface that a little bit more, I mean in terms of when you look at your neuromod skill list and you see a top skill being 8 neuromods or 8 neuro points, that's a huge investment. So did you guys break down like, okay, if the player spent this many neuromod points, we need to make sure there's X instances in the game where it'll be useful, or it wouldn't be worth it for that? Like, how did you guys approach that?
Well, in some cases, it's actually the reverse of what you said, right? Where we don't really know exactly how much a power should cost until we play the game a lot and realize, wow, this power is extremely useful. Therefore, it should have a high, the player should have to pay for it. Whereas all the powers are useful, and especially in combination with other powers, but some of them have like a very high degree of utility, like repair and hacking, for instance, are, two of the most useful powers in the game early on for survivability. But I guess when it comes to like level design, we sort of have habits and general like rules of thumb that that the level designers employ when they think about scenarios. They try to, like, if you take the security booth that you run into a lot in the game, just as like a rule of thumb, level designers think of those encounters as like there should always be at least 3 ways to get into here, and if possible 1 way that doesn't even require powers. So like there's a keypad that has a code, I could hack it, or I could go find the code somewhere. If I didn't have hacking, I could find it somewhere. Or if I was clever, I could use the glue gun to climb onto the top of the security booth and like rip the hatch off. Or if I use mimic, I can get into the little slot. Or I could use the little the hunter's bolt caster to like shoot in through the gap, the little crack.
I love that thing, by the way.
Yeah. So it's just a like, I mean, at this point for a lot of us, it's just like an ingrained reflex where that's just how we think about encounters in rooms, is like make sure there's multiple ways to do it, and then even try to leave space for things that we didn't even think of, right? So players can. We saw some player just with the demo make a video where there was an office in the lobby that you're in right now. I think it's DeVry's office.
Oh yeah.
We did not expect people to be able to get into there, but somebody figured out a way to break the window, and they would shoot a blob of glue into the office, and then they would bank shot a hunter's bolt caster bolt off of the glue ball and hit the button that they couldn't see, and it would open the door. It's insane.
Yeah, that's the best things for us. Whenever we see players doing things like that, it's I think it's the most satisfying feeling.
That is excellent. I did not know about that, but man, that is something else. That is something else. Okay, this next question is super serious. I know you guys aren't a very big team, so this next question is really important, and mainly this is for Ricardo. Ricardo, who is your favorite member of the team, and why do you like him more than anyone else, him or her? Yeah.
My favorite member of the team is Raph, and that is because he is sitting right next to me.
Good answer. There we go.
Boss, so.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Okay, so now for a little bit of real talk.
All right.
Here's a good one. I've noticed that it seems like many features of this game are some of the best iterations of classic systems that games both historically and recently have been using. And in many cases, you took those same systems and took them to an even further capacity. Which games would you say had the most influence on the game as a whole? And as a sub question, what games had the most influence on you as designers, and as you were growing up and making your way through the game industry?
Wow, that is a deep question.
You have 2 hours. An essay form is fine.
I can tell you about my inspirations. When I was a kid, I think one of the games that had the most left most memories to me was Ultima 7, and I would say the next one was Ultima Underworld, and both have overlaps in their values and what they do. But I think what I extract from there is highly interactive worlds, simulations, NPCs that are on schedules, and multiple ways to do things, and all that. And all that was, in the world also had the physicality that is so important to our games. So I think those values, I got touched by those games forever. And once starting Arcane Studios in '99, I already knew what kind of games I was going to do. So those are the inspirations for me.
Awesome. How about you, Ricardo?
Well, let's see. It feels like there's two parts to this question. There's the what influenced us, I guess, growing up, and specifically for this game. I think for this game, there's some really obvious go-to types of games like System Shock, and of course Arcane's own Arx Fatalis, just in terms of the game structure, BioShock. But there's some game. You know what? I'll mention some games that. Hopefully, I'm not skipping ahead here, but there are some games that we played during the development. Also, some contemporary games that we thought did a really good job in different ways. Like a lot of us are fans of FTL. A different kind of game. Just the way the game is very dynamic was something we were impressed with, and we were inspired by that. Games like Alien Isolation and Soma did such a good job of creating atmosphere. I mean, you can see. I mean, there's some we were so impressed by the way that Soma used computer screens that it inspired us to want to do a really good job with our computer screens.
Yeah. If I can add, I think System Shock is a big influence in this game. Of course, a lot of people have felt it. Older gamers. But also, just as you ask for features that were inspired by the games. And I mentioned Ultima Underworld earlier, and in fact, our automap system was very much inspired by that. There was something in Underworld that was for me very interesting, is that they had some sort of technical limitations where they had to reveal the map into little squares as opposed to super precisely. So because of that, sometimes you would see that there was something on the other side of the wall, and just that was actually very exciting as a player to try to find the way in to that room that I could not access. So I guess that's a very old game that made it through this new game.
Yep.
Very cool. Very cool. Another question for both of you, and I would love to know this. I know there's a lot of parts to this game, and I know definitely at this stage it probably feels kind of like it's your baby and you like all of it, but I'm going to make you choose. This is like choosing your favorite kid right now. What is your personal favorite part of the game, and why? And I need to mention that if you could please keep this as spoiler-free as possible. So you can be kind of,
like a gameplay mechanic,
well,
or like
tell you about the
physical
ending.
Yeah.
Let's go with, to keep it spoiler free, let's go with what is your favorite gameplay mechanic. That would be great. Yeah.
Well, I could mention a space because you just played it. one of my favorite parts of the game. I don't know if I could say like favorite, but like I have highlights, and like one of them is the crew facilities that you just played through. And I think part of the reason why I love it so much is because it's one of the most human parts of the space station. It's probably the most human part of the space station. It's where everybody's like their cabins and their rooms are. So it's so fun to like find that you have a key to a room, right? Or you kill a phantom and you pick up a key off of their body, and then later when you get to the crew facilities, you get to break into those rooms, and it's like you're digging through those people's past and your own past, and you find out so much about the other crew members when you finally get to that part of the game.
I've only gone down one side, and I can't wait to go down the other. And how about you, Raph?
As far as systems go, I mean, there are moments that I really love, and one of them is one of the twists at the beginning of the game. I think I always like to see people's faces when they realize what's going on. That's always very exciting to me.
Yeah.
But as far as the system goes, I would say probably the fabricator. You know, it sounds it's something that we wanted to have a very physical, world integrated system where when you make objects, it's not like an abstract screen, but it feels more real, more integrated into the world, and I think it turned out pretty well.
I would say not only the fabricators, the entire loot and recycling system has been excellent, especially for a self-described loot whore as myself. I gotta say, like, it has been so seamless, not only kind of getting all the various loot exactly how I want it, but then when I know what I want, getting there easily, which is just, it's been fantastic. So
yeah, you want to talk about another game inspiration, the quick loot that you get when you look at a container or whatever. We totally stole that from Fallout 4.
And it's great. I can't. Oh man, just being able to, like, when you get to one of those spots where there's a row of shells in a row,
yeah,
and you can just stand in the middle and move your mouse across it, and you know, if you want some, just tap F. Oh man, I love it. It makes it so much more immersive.
Those guys are smart.
Yeah, that was and a great decision to take it. It's a two-way street. You got to make it and you got to implement it. So good stuff there. Good stuff there. So another potentially quick one. What part of the game gave you the most difficulty? I know earlier we talked about like difficult parts of the development cycle, but were there any parts in the actual game where you kind of had to, you know, kind of figure out what you wanted to do or figure out how you wanted to do it? And this applies to both playtesting and in the design phase.
Well, I'll mention one. Probably the glue cannon was pretty tricky.
I'll bet that.
Man, when we prototyped probably 90 different versions of that gun.
I wanted to kill this thing at least 3 times. Ricardo fought me on it, and he was right.
But I mean, in truth, we killed the other 89 versions of it, right?
Right.
But yeah, I mean, if you ask our physics programmer, Wendy White, it's like it's a physics nightmare, right? And there are versions of it that we tried initially that the game would just break too easily. And so yeah, I think that's a really good example. We finally ended up with a design that was like both feasible technically and also allows the player lots of creative expression.
Another feature I would mention is more like an entire list of features. It's the aliens.
I'm not sure
Yeah,
Sorry, that's Siri.
Siri's trying to jump in.
Yeah, the aliens. They took a while to get right because we wanted something special. You know, it came, and I don't think I've told this story often, but it came as some sort of a. It was a mistake at first. Our lead animator sent me a video of a test for an animation for the mimic, and the compression was very bad, so it was very pixely and very blurry on the edges. And so when I saw this animation, I said, "That's what we need. We need that in real time." And so that was. one of the first version we had this kind of blurry edges on the mimic, and it added immediately something really interesting, because it would put those aliens in more mysteriously, and that's what we were looking for. But then it took forever, ever, to get them right, and because then there was a lot of challenges as far as rendering goes to get those aliens looking the way they look.
Yeah, which is that brings up an additional question, that because I have to say the aliens in this game not only are pretty damn unique, but especially the evolution inside of them, and when you're kind of looking at them and how it's just a lot. So in terms of the aliens, what did they look like when they started? Did they look dramatically different when they started to where they are now?
It's funny you say that, because today we had a company meeting, and we looked at old videos of when we started the game. And so the very first mimic, it looked actually like it had a texture. It had a real texture, and it looked more like some sort of a squid almost, an octopus. It was a skin, shiny skin with the little spots and all that. So that's how it looked initially, and then we thought of changing its material entirely, and even the animation, etc.
Very cool, very cool. So. And this is kind of a follow-up to those as well. In many situations in game design, or in just game development as a whole, you have to make compromises. Was there anything removed from the game, or anything that didn't make it, that you were hoping would be included, that didn't make it to the final product?
Oh yeah, this is kind of the survival systems I was talking about.
Yeah, survival. Some powers, probably. We changed some stuff. Right, there was a few powers that we just cut, either because they were already too many, or they did not quite fit.
Smoke form.
The smoke form. Yeah, smoke form.
You guys had a smoke form?
Yeah. Oh. So yeah, there's a creature that you haven't encountered yet that used to have the ability to turn into almost like an arm or a ball of smoke, and it could follow you almost everywhere.
Like Lost, inspired by the monster of Lost.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Which meant that you could get that power too, but it was cut for a number of reasons. One of which it made it a little too easy for the player to navigate all over the place for very little cost.
Yeah, you could go through things.
And plus, there's already like 2 or 3 other ways to do that anyways, so it was a little bit redundant. And then just technically the monster, the smokeability of the monster, what just wasn't where we wanted it to be.
Yeah, and that's one we spent a lot of dollars on.
Yeah.
Very cool, very cool. So here's a personal question for you guys, and this, I think, will kind of give us insight on where you guys are coming from when you make these types of games. What difficulty would you play this game on yourself? And if you were to sit down and play a game that you didn't make that was like Prey, how would you play it?
That's such a hot question.
Yeah. So my answer, I've played it on every difficulty, because I've actually played through the game like many times, and so sometimes I really need to play through the game fast because I have to test something, and so I stick it on easy and just like race through it, because this game is incredibly difficult to test, because it's not the kind of game where you can just say, you know what, I'm going to load mission 5 and test that out. Because the whole game is one big space, and it's really one big mission.
Everyone gets to mission 5 differently.
Yeah, exactly. So sometimes when you need to test something, it's like, well, you have to start all the way from the beginning, and you have to make this choice at the beginning, and then choose this power, and then go here and flip this switch way over here, and then walk to the other side of the space station and do this other thing. So it's like really difficult to finish this kind of game and test everything out. So I've played on every difficulty. I think if I was playing at home, I'd probably just play on normal difficulty.
Yeah, I think I would play it on normal or hard. I like the struggle for resource. I like to have to think of indirect tactics in order to survive. If you play in easy, the problem is that it depends on players, but I guess it would be it would not encourage so much to try interesting tactics, right? You would just use the gun as much as possible. So that's what I like about those games, is when you have to be a little smart.
Yeah, I have to be honest. I'm a little bit of a noob. Like I just finished playing Horizon Zero Dawn, which is a really kick-ass game.
Oh, hell yeah. That was my game of the year before this one.
Yeah, and thanks. I played like probably 80% of that game on normal, but there was a point where I was just getting my butt kicked, and so I I switched it down to easy, and I finished the game that way, and I was like, okay, I'm enjoying this even more now.
Absolutely. Nothing wrong with that. Okay. So for this next question, this is going to be a little bit different, and this is going to be one of those questions where it's like, if there's parts about this you can't or don't want to talk about, that's totally fine. It's understandable. And that being said, this game, this series, the Prey series, has gone an interesting direction from not only the original, but the announced Prey 2 that never came out. Why change the course of that, and what benefits did you see that having as the new IP of Prey?
Well, first of all, just as a gamer, I remember playing the original 2006 version of Prey, and I thought it was a really cool game. It had a lot of really interesting mechanics that I thought like stood out from a bunch of other games. But the reality is that was a totally different studio, totally different team, and our story is way different. The story of our studio, rather. We were already working on, after we finished Dishonored, we were already working on a new project because we wanted to work on the next Dishonored and come up with something new. And so the thing that we were working on was we wanted to work on a science fiction game, and we wanted it to be structurally like Arx Fatalis and inspired very much by System Shock. And so it was only like after that Bethesda approached us and said, hey, if we wanted you to use the Prey name, do you think it would fit with what you're working on? And we were like, yeah, I think it works. It's a good name. So that's sort of the story behind that.
Cool. Okay. Well, that actually makes a lot of sense. Awesome. And I'm kind of glad it went this direction because I'm really digging this. Excellent. So here's another one. Talos 1 is gigantic. How did something like this come into being? Did you work from the outside in, kind of designing the area first and then building the game within it? Or did you build out the game and how you wanted it and then kind of construct Talos around that?
It's a little bit of both, actually, right? It's like when you do a painting. Imagine doing this giant painting. You know where you're going. You have some sort of vision, but then at some point, it's the elements that you've made, that you've put in, that actually give you ideas to how to keep going, right? So, in our case, we had the overall structure of the plot and every, and then we met with the level designers, came up with some ideas of locations. So at some point, we knew that there would be the algorithm. We knew that there would be all those environments, right? And then became a job of trying to tie everything together, and that's where Ricardo spent a lot of time with the architects and the level designers, and having the story in mind, because it's all story, level design, and missions and environments. All of this is linked. It's a common effort to try to come up with how the space station, since it's one big space, as you said, as opposed to just abstract locations with some loading in between, then we had to make it logical. And of course, we also have this pet peeve of making everything logical, where it all makes sense, like why things are the way they are, and they need to be bathrooms, they need to be kitchens, they need to be everything, so that
it needs to be livable. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. And so there's another thing as well that we did is that Ricardo checked out a lot of papers, scientific papers, about how a lot of things would work if they did work in the future, and so it's a little bit of all that combined, but it was a huge effort for sure. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. I'm actually going to skip my next question because we've pretty much covered most of them. Mm-hmm. And actually, you know what? I just realized we've already been talking over half an hour. My God, that went quick. So let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and wrap it up. And actually, I'm really glad that Raph is here from this question, because I'd love insight from both of you guys, as both of you are pretty much pillars of the industry at this point. What would you have any brief words of wisdom or advice for any listeners trying to break into designing or, say, creative direction?
Well, you can't break into creative direction That's something.
Unless you start your company.
Yeah, unless you're an independent developer working on your own with your own company, but that's typically something you have to work long and hard to get to. But my advice to people trying to get into the industry though is, it's different now than it was for me a long time ago. Trying to figure out how to get a job in the industry. There's so many game engines out there that are free. That people can get their hands on. And so if you're motivated, you can get a hold of one of these engines and you can teach yourself how to do a bunch of these things. And the best thing that you can do is actually learn how to start something and finish something. A lot of people just don't have the motivation or the discipline to actually teach themselves something, start something and finish, even if it's crappy. The skill of being able to hey, I made this thing, I completed it, and then you'll have something to show eventually that might impress somebody else someday.
Yeah, I agree very much with Ricardo. Every time we've hired a junior designer, being a level designer or system designer, it was usually someone who had made a mod of some game using their engine, right? So
one of our level designers, Jeremy Catlin, is a really good example. We hired him from the mod community. He had made some really cool Thief mods, and he's turned out to be an excellent level designer.
Very cool, very cool. Well, in the interest of time, and not that I want to take any more than you guys have blessed us with today, final thoughts. Anything you guys would like to mention? Any social media that you guys would like to follow outside of Arcane's? Really anything. And also, Ricardo, I have to say, I just found out when doing some research on you that you actually have written a book. That's pretty awesome. What is the title of that, and where can people get it and everything?
I wrote a couple of books while I was working on Dishonored in between projects. If you like sort of like dark fantasy but like YA stuff, like The Dark Crystal or The Neverending Story. It's that sort of genre, but it's called Jack of Hearts. Thanks for mentioning it.
Absolutely, man. Very cool. And Raph, how about you, my friend? Are you active on Twitter or anywhere? Do you do any type of public outreach stuff?
Well, I'm also a musician, but not very active. However, I did wrote two of the musics in collaboration with our audio director, Matt Pearsall.
You know the song you hear at the beginning, the alarm clock sound?
Yeah.
And then the song that you just did in the nightclub?
Yeah.
That's Raph.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's really cool, man. That was a fun song. I had a good time in that little 1 minute try not to die to the mobs encounter. That was a lot of fun. That was really cool. By the way, I have a personal request to you guys. A personal request. If there's any way that we can patch into this game the ability to spam my F key on the instruments in that club, I seriously that's all I want. I just want to be able to play the drums. There's about a second delay.
You asked earlier, one of the things that I think that we wish could have gotten in the game. We wanted to have a neuromod that would allow, because you could click on the instruments and it just goes plang plang plang. It doesn't do anything. But we wanted there to be a neuromod that would transform your mind so that when you clicked on those things, it would play beautiful badass music. So
that would have been awesome. Maybe one day. Maybe one day. Well, guys, thank you so much for your time. It has been a pleasure and honor to talk to you two. Again, this is Ricardo Bear, lead designer at Arcane Studios. And Raph, I'm going to let you say it so it's 100% accurate.
Raph Colantonio.
Beautiful. The creative director and studio head. That's absolutely fantastic. Well, guys, again, thank you so much for your time. I cannot wait to finish this game. I'm already planning my second playthrough, which apparently we're going to do. So that's incredible. And honestly, without even finishing the game, I can already say I'm looking forward to more of this IP. This is cool. This is a winner.
Thanks for having us, and thanks for playing. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, big thank you to Arcane Studios, Ricardo, Raph. Have a great day, guys, and we'll see you later.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Oh, man. Guys, how cool are those two? That was fantastic. I really hope you enjoyed that interview. That was set up by Bethesda. A huge shout out to Arcane Studios, the creators of this game. Amazing answers to those questions, really thorough, and very cool of them to take the time to do that with us. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. And yeah, again, just huge thanks to Arcane. I have the biggest smile on my face because of that company right now. You have no idea. You have no idea. Cool. All right, give me 1 second, guys. And also, I love how Raph stayed the whole time. What a boss. Awesome. Oh, well, yeah, we'll make sure it's on YouTube, guys. If any of you guys would like to see that again, or if you have any feedback or anything, it'll all be on YouTube eventually. All right, now I gotta unplug this and focus up a little bit. My God, we got so much progress in here, and then I just died like a jerk. All right, let's see if we can fry this guy. Here we go. Boom! There it is. Butter. Awesome. What is my YouTube channel? Exact same as here. It's just youtube.com/CohhCarnage. Dustard. No, I didn't ask him about the super slide, but that's because I haven't been able to reproduce it completely. It has something to do with interacting with world objects going up angles. But I'll try to get that down. Thank you, Sundance. Appreciate that, dude. And I think we'll probably let's go ahead and head back to where we were. Got to start making our way there. I don't have too much longer today. I was expecting to play another half hour, but our interview ran a little bit long. So I think we're gonna make our way back to where we're gonna start tomorrow, and we'll probably wrap it up there. This game reminds me a bit of like Ghostbusters for some reason. There's weird tangents to that. I could see that. Wait, Job Pate, is it your birthday today, man? Awesome interview, Co. I didn't catch the entire thing, but from what I saw, it was awesome. Also, it's my birthday. Happy birthday, buddy! Thank you for being here for it, Ja. Awesome, man. Happy birthday. Wadaquat says, you've got a regular shotgun. Didn't you pre-order the game? I did pre-order the game, and I have the the custom shotgun, but I'd already spent many upgrades on my current shotgun. So as far as I know, the DLC shotgun's just a skin. So I just went ahead and kept mine. Yeah. Awesome. Great work, Barry and Triwar. Fantastic. Hey, Twisted Aphid. Thank you for your sub, man. Yeah, so something that I didn't really get to mention, because we were doing the interview, it looks like the coral is spreading into the station. Did you guys notice that? A lot of this coral was not here before, especially in the lobby. So this could be trouble. This could be trouble. Don't you worry about it, Ja. I saw that, buddy. Don't you worry about it. That was very well prepared on Ko's part. I was impressed by how thought he put into the questions and how much background research he did himself. Thank you, Keswick. I appreciate that, man. When I got the opportunity, opportunities like the interview we just had are very few and far between. I mean, those two dudes, I'm not going to lie. Those two guys are kind of... I wasn't kidding when I said they're pillars of the industry. I mean, Arcane Studios has not only come a long way, but it's going to go a long way too, especially with products like this. So that was really cool of them to take the time to do that. Yeah, that was, I mean, again, the 15-year-old gamer in me is just completely freaking out right now. You have no idea. You have no idea. Man, I love that elevator ride. How am I still on, Phallus93? We just wrapped up an interview. I'm getting ready for tomorrow, and then we're going to be calling it a day here. I want to get us right to the point where we can just hit the ground running tomorrow and do another 8 hours. Coral is the yellow stuff, Little Baby Chaos. Yeah, we don't really know what coral is, and I don't even think the people in the game know what coral is. All we know is that the Typhon, which are the aliens, kind of create it, but we don't know why. We don't know what its purpose is, but it's spreading. I know, right? That sounds like the catch line to a horror movie.
Target error. Insufficient Typhon material found. Standing down.
Okay, so main objective, I think we're gonna go ahead and head. Look at all these things we have to do. I love this. This is so cool. We have multiple objectives that way, multiple objectives that way. We've got so much to do in here. Oof. What time do I start? I start every single day at 8 a.m. EDT. We'll be doing another all-day stream tomorrow, so probably 8 to 4 at least without a break. Yeah, maybe even longer. It all depends. Today, my wife has been very patient with me the last couple days, so I've got to jump off here in just a minute. But we may go longer tomorrow.
Diagnosing. There. All better. Please fill out a patient experience questionnaire so I can serve you better next time.
I want to high five whoever did that voice. Every time I hear it, it makes me feel so warm. I want that bot to be my doctor IRL. Yeah, I do. Snap Cocoa Pop says Coral in Prey equals Scourge in Andromeda. Well, there's no way we can answer that because we never found out what the Scourge was. So it's like there's absolutely no way to know. Code, thanks for robbing me thanks for robbing me of another 10 hours of my life. My pleasure. There's nothing that makes me happier than robbing time from your life. Seriously, thanks for hanging around. I appreciate it. Oh, that's right. We were right in front of our room. This may give us a lot of insight into what's going on. We just opened this door, and then we cross the threshold tomorrow! Ha ha! Yes! Guys, thank you so much for being here today. This is day 2 of our 100% Prey run. We have a lot left to do. We will be completing every single side quest in this game, going to every single location we can find, pretty much doing everything we can as we have been, and it has been a blast the whole time. So, on that note, on the way out the door, I would like to call out some of these awesome subs that have been pledging support today. Again, I want to shout out and thank you guys that take the plunge and sub to the channel. It is thanks to you that I'm able to do this stuff today. If you enjoyed the Prey Q&A and you're a subscriber, you have yourself to thank, because without subs, I couldn't do cool stuff like that. So again, I really do appreciate it, dudes. On that note, we've got Grumble Grunch, Elfenlied, The Mean Kid, Etherion, Aaron D, Dream Dog, Kragon, Nig Nog with the $3 tip. Thank you, buddy. Mike and I-Fi, Valak was taken, Reesiger, Manic Teddy, Nerd Rage, I am KG, Acidic Pure with the 45 months, the longest you can be subbed to the channel. Thank you so much, Acidic Pure. Been great having you around. Almost 4 years now. Cleminator, Hodgerton, Portessa, Daryl Van Horn with the cheer. Thank you so much, dude. Wolf, 787, Phalador, Beckons, Kleinix with the 38, Brutal Tom, Umato 3, Volcat, Wartston, the Sam Hanwich. I said that right. Devilman, Kinma, Main Event, Drakendad, Ezkrum, King Nacho Cheese, Black Fox, Renovated Puma, General Thug, Butterwheels, Agbriel, NS Chip, Ophi67. Great to see you, brother. Thank you for that resub. BC Berserker. We also have Rick Tors, Neckish, TS Meyer, Kalichbur with the cheer. Thank you, Kalichbur. Almost done. Shekarath, Ja Pata. Happy birthday again, man. Toku, Twisted Aphid, Pokemon fans, Drakens, Piercing Arrows, Spawn 2K, Evo Me's with the 43 millennia of support. And finally, Tanic DK. Thank you so much for these subs. Good show to you, friends. Thank you so much for it, guys. Also, real quick, we have a giveaway going on in chat right now for a Ryzen processor sponsored by Bethesda. I do want to point out, though, guys, there's a small error in the giveaway text. It says it's giving a Ryzen 1400 away. We're actually giving away right now a Ryzen 1600. So this is actually a slightly, well, better processor than a 1400. But this is the processor that I'm holding right now being given away. Big thank you again to Bethesda for hooking us up with that. That is awesome. And as a reminder, we gave away a processor yesterday. We're giving away a processor today. We still have 3 video cards to give away. We have RX 570s. And then at the very end of the 100%, we've got the limited edition Prey Art PlayStation 4 Pro that we'll also be giving away. Hope to see you guys there for it. Thank you all so much for it. Okay, guys, on that note, I am out of here. Thank you all for your support. Keep your eyes on chat for the winner. If you are the winner, make sure to respond to the Twitch PM that is sent to you so you can claim your prize. And I hope to see every single one of you guys here tomorrow at some point for the continuation of our 100% prey run. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much for being here. Have an awesome morning, afternoon, or evening wherever you are around the globe. And thanks for spending some of your life here. See y'all later tomorrow at 8 a.m. EDT. Bye-bye.